Elon Musk's company, SpaceX, is suing the United States government for $2 billion. That's because the Defense Department, about 7 months ago, awarded a contract to 3 different players in the aerospace industry. There was a $967 million deal to the United Launch Services, which is the ULA, and they're a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Now, there's also a $791.6 million contract to Orbital Sciences, which is part of Northrop Grumman. And there's also a $500 million contract going to Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' company. And it's financed by $1 billion worth of sales of his own Amazon stock. So what SpaceX is doing, they're saying that this is not fair to them. We deserve to be looked at for these contracts because we have the stuff that it takes to do these same jobs. And why weren't we even looked at? Why weren't we awarded some of these contracts? And in these contracts, there was some wording. And the wording was for the development of a launch system prototype for the Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle Program. And as you all know, SpaceX doesn't really make expendable rockets. And the Pentagon was seeking expendable rockets for satellite launches rather than the reusable rockets that SpaceX uses every time they launch something up into space. So what the Pentagon wanted was something different than what SpaceX was offering. And because of this, the Pentagon funded development of ULA's Vulcan Centaur launch system, Northrop Grumman's Omega launch system, and Blue Origin's New Glenn launch system. And that didn't mean that SpaceX wasn't bidding for these things, right? So they did proposals for their reusable rockets, Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and also Starlink. So they wanted to be a player in this. They wanted to be part of this, and they wanted some money to make some new rockets, right? But Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, they've always intended for their rockets to be reusable. So that's one of the arguments that SpaceX could be possibly using against the Defense Department, against the United States government for this $2 billion lawsuit. And the Pentagon wanted to subsidize development costs, which would ensure that there would always be at least 2 domestic commercial launch service providers capable of launching the heaviest and most complex payloads for the U.S. government. And see, that's kind of where it gets kind of fishy and weird. So they want to launch things into low Earth orbit. And ULA's Vulcan Centaur is going to be able to launch 25 metric tons. Northrop Grumman's Omega rocket will be able to do 10.1 ton payloads into GTO, the geosynchronous transfer orbit. And then it probably translates into about 24 to 28 tons into LEO. And Blue Origin, it's targeted to about 45 tons. Now, SpaceX's Falcon 9 is 22.8 tons into low Earth orbit, and its Falcon Heavy ship, which has flown twice successfully, has a payload of 63.8 tons, which is way more than 45 tons for the Blue Origin rocket, the New Glenn. Now, all this being said, SpaceX has a pretty good case. They say that they have ships that are already available that can do the jobs. So why were these contracts given to other companies when they don't even have rockets made yet? That's one of the big things. SpaceX can already do it. They can already do it. They've already been up into space numerous times with their rockets. So why wasn't one of these contracts awarded to SpaceX?